Are you looking for the best all-natural red food coloring alternatives to using red dye 3 and 40? In this video, we're testing 3 popular options to find out which one works best in a red velvet cake. Hello, my name is Nicole Bonilla, and if you love healthier recipes to our favorite foods, then you are in the right place. Red dye 3 and 40 are 2 of the most debated food colorings and have bans and warnings in some countries due to potential health risks. So our first all-natural option is using beet powder. It is made by dehydrating fresh beets and grinding them into a fine, nutrient-rich powder. Natural radish-based liquid red food coloring is made by extracting the vibrant red pigment from red radish juice concentrate. Hibiscus flower powder is made by drying hibiscus petals and grinding them into a fine powder. So we're going to start by making a mug cake using the beet powder. So I'm going to start by cracking 1 egg into my bowl, and then I'll add 1 tablespoon of light olive oil. You could also use avocado oil. Then I'll add half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then for a little kick of flavor, as well as to enhance the color of the beetroot powder, we're going to add half a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. And then I'm going to mix this together with my mini whisk. You could also use a fork. Next, we're going to add the dry ingredients, which includes 1/3 cup of almond flour. And you can check the recipe for additional flours that you could use instead. Next, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of cane sugar. You could also use regular sugar. Then we'll add 1 teaspoon of cocoa powder, half a teaspoon of beetroot powder, and 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, and 3 pinches of salt. And then we'll just whisk this together until combined. Now to bake the cake, we're going to use a standard size mug, but you can also use a ramekin if you prefer. So I'm just going to spray it with some non-stick, and then we can pour our batter right inside. And then you're going to want to microwave this anywhere between about 1 minute and 20 seconds and 2 minutes. I have found that 1 minute and 45 seconds works perfect with my microwave. So in only 1 minute and 45 seconds, we now have a baked red velvet cake. And now I have 2 bowls with all the same cake ingredients, but I haven't added the red food coloring yet. Now for our liquid red food coloring test, I'm adding 1/4 of a teaspoon. And now for the hibiscus, I'm going to go ahead and add half of a teaspoon. And just by looking at it, it has a little bit deeper color to it. And it definitely has a very floral scent to it. So now I'll whisk this together. And it doesn't look like we're getting much of a red color, but maybe it'll be more apparent after it bakes. So now I'll spray my mug, and we'll pour in the liquid food coloring batter, and then we'll microwave this for 1 minute and 45 seconds. Well, here's our mug cake with the liquid food coloring. And carefully dump it over. It's definitely not as vibrant as the red with our beetroot powder. So I rinsed up my mug, and we'll spray it again, and then fill it with our hibiscus flower batter. And then we'll microwave this for 1 minute and 45 seconds. Well, here's our cake with the hibiscus powder. Carefully dump this out. Flip it over. Well, based on color, our first cake that was made with the beetroot powder definitely has the most vibrant red color to it, followed by the cake that had the liquid food coloring. And lastly, our hibiscus flower cake had the least amount of red color to it. The next question is, how do they taste? So we'll start with the red beet powder. The cake is nice and moist and has that subtle chocolate flavor to it. Now there is a really faint taste of beet in it, but the other flavors complement it really well. Now for the liquid food coloring, that has the same delicious flavor as the first cake from the chocolate and the almond flour. There is just a little more hint of sweetness in it, and that's because of the sugar that's added to the food coloring. And now for the hibiscus flower. Well, that also has the delicious cake flavors with the chocolate and almond flour. I don't get any trace of beetroot in it. It does have a really slight little florally flavor to it, which I find really pleasant. But unfortunately, you don't get the beautiful red color to go with it. So my conclusion is that the beetroot powder is going to give you the strongest red color, but there may be a really slight little beet aftertaste. But I'm sure once you put some cream cheese frosting on this cake, it will be hardly noticeable. Now, if you want some of the red color, but you don't want any of that beet aftertaste, then the liquid food coloring may be your best option, but you won't get as much vibrant color. And for the hibiscus, it had a very delicious flavor, but very little red color. But it's possible that if you use this in a frosting or something else that has more of a white base to it, that you might be able to get a little bit more of that red hue. Well, I hope this was helpful as you consider using some all-natural alternatives to red dye 3 and 40. And I've included links to all these products in the description below if you'd like to check them out. And I invite you to visit my website, gentletummy.com, for healthier recipes to our favorite foods. And I cannot wait to have you hang out with me again in my kitchen.